What is going on, guys? J.Yumeko here, and today we're back, finally, with some more If My Heart Had Wings. Yes, I'm back! I'm back! So, as for where we left off, I'm gonna be completely blunt with you. I have no fucking idea where we left off. Some stuff probably happened that I don't remember. But, yeah, we're just gonna go right back into it, because I don't have anything to say. I don't have anything to contribute here. Okay. Oh yes, so Ageha's. We were planning on like doing an overnight. Well, we were basically passing off what is essentially going to be our catch-up time with Ageha as a training camp. Essentially, that's where we've left off.
Everyone, I've been causing a lot of trouble lately, but J.Yumeko Ageha will make a full comeback to the Soaring Club today!
A small round of applause echoed around the garage. You guys were so close. If you'd won 2 more matches, you would have gotten through the qualifiers.
Nah, I think they'd be aiming a little too high.
Ageha and her team lost in the 3rd match in the district qualifiers at the robotic contest that were held yesterday. If a team wins 4 times, they can enter the national championship. Saying they were close was a bit questionable since they lost in the 3rd match, but it was a really close fight and the team that beat them won the district qualifiers in the end.
By the way, Kotori, thanks for coming to cheer us on.
It was really frustrating. Since Ageha was in 2 clubs, the rest of us were also helping out the robotics club when we had some time to spare. We also helped carry the equipment on the day of the match and went to the contest hall. It was the first time I'd been to a robot contest, but it was pretty interesting. The teams weren't there just to win. They also did their best to show off their robots, the crystallization of their ideas. Even if showing off like that could put them at a disadvantage in the match, they didn't cut any corners. When I saw that, I could understand why Ageha became so engrossed in this.
And thank you, Amani-senpai, for helping us.
Huh? Amani-chan did something? I didn't really do anything.
You came to see us several times, improved the weak points in the designs, and gave us lots of ideas. You're amazing, Amani-senpai. Your way of thinking really is on a different level.
So Amani-chan was doing all of this and kept it from us. I had no idea. When on earth did she do that? I didn't think there was anything I could do.
Everyone was happy to work with you and it gave them a lot of motivation. They were all really pumped and they said that they'll win next time for sure.
I'm glad to hear that. It's good that they want to win. They can't obtain victory if they don't aim for the top.
And now, I have one more important announcement.
Ageha spoke in a formal tone.
I quit the robotics club yesterday.
What? Really?
The truth is, I had already decided that a while ago. I like making robots, but now I enjoy building the glider more. So from now on, I'll be doing my best only in this club.
Another round of applause resounded in the garage, louder than before and accompanied with cheers.
And now we can finally start the last stage of making the main wings. Please return to the pilot training.
No, I can help too.
No, we're gonna start test flights as soon as the main wings are complete. You have to learn how to pilot it perfectly before that. I let you be the pilot, so you must do it flawlessly.
Alright. I had a role to fulfill. At long last, first test flight was just around the corner. Finally. I'm still curious as to how this thing takes off.
Excuse me. Coming.
Who is it?
Eek! Hey, that's sexual harassment. You can't greet visitors when you're not wearing any clothes.
Huh? But I've got my underwear on.
Oh. You're Ageha's little sister, aren't you? Yes, that's right. I'm Himeki Hotaru. You're Habani-san, is that right?
Kotori's fine. Or Kotori-chan.
Kotori-chan.
Kotori-san. Is A-chan here?
Ageha, your sister came. Oh, Hotaru.
Kotsuri took Hotaru to the dining hall where everyone was having breakfast.
Chan, I brought a change of clothes. Thanks. How about Mom? What'd she say? That she'll kick your ass when you get back. It can't be helped, I guess.
Hi, Hotaru.
Morning, Aimi.
You want some breakfast?
No thanks, I ate at home already. I'm sorry, Amani-chan, but could you feed Hat?
Sure, leave it to me. Come, Hat.
Quack.
You're in a good mood. It must be because the food here is so delicious.
Quack.
It's been a few days since we turned the dormitory into our training camp. Eating breakfast together became our daily routine. It's really lively, so it feels more like living together. Also, today we needed an especially solid breakfast. Unlike usual, today's work will be a test of our endurance.
It's really sunny today. It looks like it got a bit hotter. Hey, little sis, how was it out there? The weather was really nice.
Munch, munch.
We'd better put on some sunscreen. Oh yeah, come and help us too if you're free. Alright, if there's something I can do. Oh, there is. Anyone can do it, we just need an extra pair of hands. Are we going to polish the wings again? Well, today...
Munch, munch.
We're going to make a runway. Make a runway?
Indeed. So we do need a runway.
This is the runway.
We stared in complete bewilderment at the wild, open, empty lot, overgrown with lush grass.
Are we gonna tidy this whole place up?
Yes, exactly.
You told us to prepare ourselves, but after actually seeing this, it's quite intimidating.
We were on the verge of completing the main wing, so we were finally starting preparations for the test flight. Among those was preparing the runway. In the meadows that stretched beside the lake, there was a wide, flat area without any slopes. When we heard runway, everyone imagined an airfield covered in asphalt or something like that.
The weeds grow quickly in the summer.
It was the first time I saw weeds overgrown to that extent. Since our glider was handmade, we'll be making the runway ourselves too. We had to tidy this place up. That's why we called for some help.
What the hell do I have to do something like this? So you're fine if I tell her? I can expose your embarrassing secrets to Eri-chan, remember?
That's a dirty trick! You're playing seriously dirty!
You're the same, blabbing around about unnecessary things. I really should have kicked your ass for that.
She really is a dude on the inside. Ageha had persuaded Masatsugu to come with us.
Aw, this does look tough. Let's do our best.
As a condition for preparing our meals throughout the summer holidays, we got Kaneko-san to come and help us.
Can I really do this?
We also brought along the unfortunate Hotaru, who came only to deliver a change of clothes for Ageha.
Quack quack.
And then there was Hat. Ducks eat weeds, so we really didn't need to force him. We just took him out for a walk. But isn't this private property?
Yeah, it is. It seems that the owner of this field is an old member from the Soaring Club.
In other words, this person was a member of the past Soaring Club, from before Amani-senpai and the others revived it again.
They lent us it for free, provided we cut the grass on a regular basis.
Wow.
Well then, let's get started. If we keep up this idle chatter, it'll get dark.
At the command of our Vice President, Habane Kotsuri, the weeding commenced. God, that would be hell, wouldn't it? At that point, I'd just take a rideable mower and just go at it. The dreadful heat made it all the more difficult. There was nothing that would block the direct sunlight here. The wind blowing from the direction of the lake barely managed to cool us down a bit. It's hot. The towel wrapped around my head, and in place of a hat was already drenched in sweat. Everyone, be careful not to get a heat stroke. It's said that you should drink water regularly. On a day as hot as today, it's best to drink something even before you start feeling thirsty. I'm done for. Can I go to the convenience store for a bit?
That's pathetic. Aren't you a man?
I'm just a gangly boy who has a part-time job, abandoned, and is crazy in love. Kotsuri, are you alright?
Yeah, I'm fine. My butt's getting really sweaty though.
We thought that it might be possible for the wheelchair-bound Kotori to do the weeding, but she wanted to... Oh, we thought that it might be impossible for the wheelchair-bound Kotori to do the weeding, but she wanted to do it nevertheless. I'm worried that she'll overdo it without thinking of her health and end up collapsing. Here, have a sports drink.
Thanks. Kia!
What's wrong, Hotaru?
A bug.
A grasshopper jumped out of the grass that she was about to cut. What? It's just a grasshopper. Hotaru hid behind me, scared. I caught the grasshopper and released it in an area that we finished cutting. Don't get caught by Hat, he'll eat you. Grasshoppers are Duck's favorite foods.
Thanks, Heini.
Kaneko was using a lawnmower that Ageha had borrowed from a local farm. She was cutting down all the weeds that weren't much higher than ankle level. There was no problem as long as they weren't tall enough to get tangled around the wheels, so there was no need to pull them out from the root. Hey,
Hat-senpai, you're in the way. This will make mincemeat out of you.
Quack quack. Thinking that the lawnmower was a living thing, Hat sometimes tried to mess around with it.
Hey, Alcon, could you take him somewhere else?
Will do. Quack. I carried Hat away. He didn't like it though, so he struggled all the way. Alright, here should be fine.
Yo, Hat.
Quack. Amani-senpai, could you take care of this troublemaker?
Yeah, okay.
Even Amani-senpai, who usually secludes herself in the garage, was silently absorbed in the weeding today. That reminds me, when you did the test flight the other day, you also took off from here, right?
That's right.
How'd you deal with the grass at that time?
I did it with the help of the advisor, Yamanobe-sensei.
Only the necessary part, though. Huh? The advisor?
Yes, the advisor.
Well, I guess that clubs usually have one of these, but I haven't seen them once. Hey, Ageha.
What's up?
Do you know Yamanobe-sensei?
Ah, that young male teacher. He's kind of unreliable and lanky.
Seems like he's our advisor.
Yeah, I know.
She knew about that? As I should have expected. Why doesn't he come to supervise our club activities? Yamanobe-sensei became our club advisor when the previous one retired. He's an amateur when it comes to gliders, and he isn't even that interested in them.
He's not the type to rock the boat. He won't speak out against Tobioka-sensei.
So the teachers only help with one test flight?
Yeah, Yamanobe-sensei only helps us out when an extra pair of hands is needed. It's impossible to fly a glider all by yourself.
I don't know what kind of person this Yamanobe-sensei was, but he was probably in a difficult position. There's no doubt there'll be no end to his worries. She probably didn't want to burden him with anything. I was thinking about this while working hard on the runway maintenance. I noticed that everyone was covered in dirt. It seems that today's bath will feel especially good. With that, the preparations for the flight proceeded steadily. Everything was a new experience to us, so even tackling tedious jobs felt refreshing. And then, one day in August, finally.
We did it!
At last, the main wings were complete. Everyone looked at the two giant white wings with a feeling of joy. A lot has happened, but we still got this far.
We did it, Kotori!
Yeah. Kotori looked like she could start crying any second, overcome with emotions. What are you getting all tearful for?
I worked so hard, and now that I see it finished, I've never done anything like this before.
I knew how she felt. However, it's still too early, don't you think?
Exactly. Leave this for after it's taken flight.
Sniff.
Yeah, you're right.
Kotori wiped her eyes again with her arm and fired herself up again. There's no distortions on the surface, and the surface is as smooth as it can be. Amani-senpai checked up both completed main wings with an uncharacteristically serious expression. Distortion of the wings inhibit the normal flow of air, reducing the lift. Also, unevenness and scratches on the surface, even though so fine that they cannot be seen by the naked eye, will increase friction and create drag. Those are good wings! With Amani-senpai's seal of approval, Ageha and Kotori high-fived each other triumphantly. Before I knew it, these two became a great duo.
With this, we can fly, right?
Yeah, we can fly. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Okay. Stop. Early morning. Today we were finally doing the test flight. To do that, we had to transport the glider to the runway. We put the glider on a special trailer and towed it by car. So they're finally finished. Anshan, who drove into the school grounds in a lightweight truck from the workshop, whispered to himself when he saw the main wings that had been loaded onto the trailer. By the way, we received permission from Anshan to bring his truck into the school grounds. This was the first time I'd seen the advisor Yamanobe-sensei. As I had imagined, he seemed good-natured and diligent, but also quite timid.
It's done, Anshan.
Ageha lifted her head and let us know that the trailer had been connected to the truck. Make sure that the aircraft won't get scratched inside the trailer. The glider had been separated into several parts and loaded onto the trailer. If they weren't firmly secured, they'll scratch during transportation and they might get damaged.
Isn't this a little loose?
Ageha, fetch me a towel. I put the towel into the gap to act as cushioning. That should do it. Okay then, let's get going. Habane-san will sit in the passenger seat and the rest of you can get on the cargo bed. You guys, come and give me a hand. Ageha and I lifted up Kotsuri and put her down in the passenger seat.
I could have gone in the back too.
Kotsuri grumbled a little. I kind of understood how she felt. Ageha and I took her wheelchair and got into the cargo bed of the truck. Is everything ready?
A-okay.
Alright, here we go! He started the engine and the truck towed the trailer along. Hey everyone! When we arrived at the runway, Amane-senpai, who came here first to make preparations, waved her hand greeting us. Anshan parked the truck next to the runway and we jumped off the cargo bed.
Phew, that was fun.
I've always wanted to ride on the cargo bed of a truck.
You two sure had fun.
We helped the dejected Kotori out of the passenger seat and onto the wheelchair. While we did that, Anshan disconnected the trailer from the truck.
Tatsuya.
Yo, Amane.
I'm sorry I got you to help.
Oh well, don't mention it. I'd do anything for these guys.
Yeah.
Also, it's not like I have nothing to do with it. I'm an old club member after all.
I see.
I really wanted to see this thing fly. Anshan, you're leaving? I was listening from a distance but couldn't resist butting in. I've got work to do.
Huh. We wanted you to see it too, Anshan.
It's okay. If you fly from here, I can see it from our workshop.
Make sure you watch.
Yeah, so you better do it right. Anshan gave us a refreshing smile. Then he drove away in his truck. As soon as Anshan left, we immediately began the assembly. The aircraft was still in pieces on the trailer. First, we put the fuselage on the ground, then we took out the two main wings. Kotori, keep an eye out and make sure it doesn't hit anything.
Okay.
Ageha, Amane-senpai and I lifted up one of the main wings and attached it to the fuselage.
Watch out for the wind. Even as much as a light breeze can generate some lift.
If a strong wind were to blow straight into this, the generated lift would be quite capable of sending us flying along with the wind. After attaching the main wings, next were the tailplane.
Steady! Steady!
We assembled it carefully, making sure not to scratch it.
Oh.
Standing in front of the completed glider, we were all deeply moved.
So this is how it looks like.
It's huge.
But it's beautiful.
Until now, we didn't really get to see the full view of our very own aircraft. Compared to the regular planes that we're all familiar with, it looks kind of odd. In particular, the unusually long wings that we had completed yesterday looked quite unbalanced compared to the slightly short and stout fuselage. But were they really? Now that I knew that each and every part of this shape played a role in flying in the air, it felt incredibly beautiful to me.
Let's begin the checks.
Amani-senpai, holding this printed out checklist in one hand, gave out instructions to everyone.
Do we have all the tools? Everything's here.
Before we fly, we had to make sure that we had all the tools that were used for assembly. If there's anything missing, it's possible that it's still somewhere inside the aircraft. In such an event, it could cause a serious accident.
Air in the tires?
Sufficient.
Aren't the pitot tubes locked? They're fine.
After that, the checklist covered a lot of things. We checked the airframe for abrasions, damage and such. We even examined the inside to see if bugs didn't make nests anywhere. At a glance, some of it might seem silly, but when we consider that we'll be flying through the air in this thing, we can't really say that. For example, if one of the meters gets blocked by a bug, it could affect the piloting and possibly even cause an accident. That's why we had to check these things before the flight. Also, by checking the glider and doing all the checks ourselves, we were able to gain a deeper understanding of the machine. Amani-senpai said that she had made some revisions to the checklist that was made by the old members.
Okay, next is the positive control check.
As she said that, Amani-senpai got into the cockpit.
Right aileron.
The rest of us standing outside went to the part that she called out. In this case, the right aileron, and held onto it, making it hard to move. Senpai moved the control stick to operate the aileron. At this time, if it moved with no resistance whatsoever, it's possible that the couplings between the control stick and the aileron had been severed. If this were a car, it would have been like wheels not responding to the movement of the steering wheel. Needless to say, that would be extremely dangerous. These checks were also carried out in the rudder and elevator.
All is okay. Now then, Alcon, could you get into the back seat?
Amani-senpai got out and I sat in the back seat. Then we repeated similar checks.
Flaps and tie brakes are fine.
Now that the assembly checks have all been completed, I got out of the cockpit. All members lined up for the briefing.
The wind is calm today. It's a perfect day for a test flight.
Amani-senpai, who should have been explaining the important things, spoke with a gloomy expression that contradicted the subject.
That's why there's nothing to worry about. Surely everything will go smoothly. You're the one who's worried, Amani-chan.
Kotori spoke quite tactlessly and Amani-senpai froze up. Then, shake, 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 she started trembling.
If there's no wind, the glider can't fly. And that means we can't really say that today is good weather for flying.
Oh, she said something.
Hey, Kotori, what are we gonna do? Even if you ask me. Okay, let's stop for today. We've practiced assembling it, that's good enough. Hey, what are you talking about? We came this far, it'd be weird not to fly. Well, you guys are just beginners, so you don't know, but when it comes to flying gliders, the more windy day would be. Amani-chan, you're just scared. But at times like this, you should draw a kanji for person on your palm a few times and swallow it. No way, I don't believe in such superstitions.
She said something rather childish.
It'll be fine. In the calm wind, you should be able to fly more stably.
I'll be backing you up too.
No way, I'm scared.
Oh, she said that she's scared.
Then we've got no choice. Ageha, Alcon.
At Kotori's signal, Ageha and I firmly held Amani-chan from both sides.
Oh, what are you doing? Sorry, Amani-chan.
It's for your own good.
Stop! Let go of me!
While we were restraining the struggling senpai, Kotori wrote the person kanji on the palm of her own hand a ridiculous number of times.
Person. Right? That many times should be enough.
Then Kotori took a run-up. Hey, run-up is a bit...
No! Stop! Ha! Smack!
Kotori made her swallow those person kanji, or rather, she slapped her in the face with all her strength. This almost looked like pro wrestling, where three bad guys teamed up to torment the good guy.
Phew! How about that? You're less scared now, aren't you?
My nose... Having had some fighting spirit slapped into her, Amani-senpai held her red nose.
It looks like it worked a little too well.
Why'd you slap her like that?
What if Amani-chan's no strength and ruins her beauty?
This was totally crazy. Senpai, are you alright?
I'm fine. Thanks, everyone. I feel a little braver now.
Amane-senpai smiled faintly and walked towards the winch.
Alright, it worked.
Ouch! What do you mean? Ah!
Senpai is my idol! Oh, hell. What? 2 against 1?
Coaching chased after us as we went off ahead. In the corner of the runway, there is a huge thing that looks like a household power generator. This was the winch. A glider which has no thrust of its own cannot fly into the air by itself. There are a few different methods of taking off. Typically, a normal plane is used to tow the glider into the air, where it's then detached. It's called airplane towing. With this, you can reach a considerable altitude from the start. However, if you don't have such an expensive thing as an airplane in hand, you have to use a different method. That's where this comes in. To explain it simply, it's a machine which reels in a rope using a giant motor. The glider is connected to the end of this rope, and when it's pulled with high speed, it can take off. It works just like launching a kite. Okay, so I figured it was going to be something like that. I figured it was either going to be kind of like a launch system, like a catapult system, like what they have on aircraft carriers, or it was going to be something like this. The difference is that the glider is huge and quite heavy. Naturally, the winch has to be huge too. I mean, yeah, that's going to be... that has to be a big-ass piece of equipment right there.
At first, we use full power. Once the aircraft reaches an angle of about 30 degrees from the ground, we gradually decrease the power. Uh-huh.
Amane-senpai was teaching Kotsuri how to use the winch. She already explained this a few days ago when we tried operating it before, so now it was just a review. Our roles for today are, Amane-senpai and I are pilots, Kotsuri operates the winch, and Ageha works as ground control, supporting us during takeoff, landing, and such. By the way, this winch appears to be quite pricey. Not as expensive as an airplane, but still. It was used by previous club members of the Soaring Club, maintained since then, and will now be put into operation again. It's been in service for many years. To be honest, the equipment here goes way beyond the scope of high school club activities. That's what I'm... Like, first off, you have a whole club dedicated to building and flying an operable aircraft, and then you have this big, like, probably what would, at that point, at that size, I'd assume it'd be considered like an industrial winch. That's specifically designed to pull this glider fast enough so that it gains lift. That's pretty fast.
Okay, I've got it.
Well then, let's get ready for takeoff. Alright. We walked back from the winch towards the aircraft. It was about 1 kilometer away, so it took a while. Amane-senpai got into the front seat, with me following her and getting into the back seat.
Fasten your seatbelt.
As Geha told me to do this, I checked the seatbelt a few times.
Can your feet reach the pedals? Are there any parts that are hard to move?
Everything's okay. The canopy, the transparent lid that covers the cockpit, got closed.
Confirm that the canopy's locked.
Okay. I checked the lock. If it's not properly locked, there's a risk it may open during the flight. Amane-senpai performed a final check on the flight controls. Outside the canopy, Ageha checked the rope extending from the winch and connected it to the glider.
Senpai, please do a release check.
Amane-senpai operated the release lever and the hook holding the rope was immediately released. If this fails to disconnect, it could cause a big accident, so it must always be carefully checked before the takeoff.
It's okay.
Ageha gave a signal from outside and connected the towing rope once again. We suddenly felt a lot more nervous. This aircraft will fly through the air. It still didn't feel real. To begin with, can an aircraft that we made ourselves really fly? It has no engine and it can't even flap its wings like a bird, so will it really be alright? I've had the theory explained to me many times, but you won't get the real feeling from theory alone. If you want to get that, the only option is to fly. Finally, we can fly. Finally. Senpai?
I'm fine. I'm not scared. These wings that everyone made together are much better than the ones I made, so it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Kotsuri got rid of my fears a moment ago. But right now, I'm counting on you, Aokun.
Leave it to me. This is why I was training on the simulator until I got sick of it. I went over the takeoff procedure in my head. The most dangerous part of the flight was the landing. However, serious accidents can easily occur during the takeoff too. This time I could rely on Amane-senpai, but to learn such a vast material, it was necessary to have the whole procedure in your head. Oh. Ageha tapped the canopy from outside.
Are you ready?
When Senpai and I replied ready, Ageha walked around to the side of the aircraft and lifted up the left wing that was touching the ground. The aircraft became balanced. The wings of a glider are really long, so it can't stand on its wheels like a normal plane. That's why it's standing with one of its wings touching the ground. Therefore, during takeoff, someone has to run along holding the wing until it gains a lift. Hold up, what? That is so fucking dangerous. Okay, I'm pretty sure there have been planes. I'm pretty sure the ones I'm thinking of are military planes. But there have been planes where their wingspans are so big that you do need so that what they do is they have like little wheels on the ends of the wings, and so that the wings will stay off the ground and level, and also be able to move with the plane as it's moving. And then once the plane takes off, those wheels basically detach. So then, obviously at that point they're not needed. So then they can detach. So I'm not sure why they don't just do that. I feel like that would be a better design, but whatever. Ageha, who was holding up the wings, signaled Kotori, who was waiting far away, that launch preparations were now complete. It's about time. Here we go, Alcon. Just as Amane-senpai whispered this. Whoosh! The aircraft suddenly got pulled forward. Pulled by the winch, the glider was quickly accelerating. The wheels jumped on the unpaved runway. Ageha ran alongside while holding up the left wing. I turned to the side and our eyes met.
See ya!
Whoosh! A few seconds later, after it started gliding, I felt the aircraft rising, and we were pulled for only a few meters. As soon as it started gliding and accelerating,
We're climbing!
Amane-senpai pulled back the control stick. The aircraft raised its nose. I didn't know what the exact angle was, but to me it felt extremely steep.
Rise! Yippee!
Whoa! My whole body trembled from the G-force. I was hit in turns by the sensation of the aircraft gliding softly and the feeling of being strongly pulled by the winch. I looked down through the canopy. However, at this angle, the main wings were blocking my field of vision. I could hardly see the ground at all. At what altitude are we now? When uncertainty of the situation made me feel a hint of fear.
Releasing the towing rope. Yay! We're flying!
Suddenly, the pulling force disappeared and the released aircraft started gliding gently. That's because it's been detached from the winch. We're flying. From that moment, the glider was no longer borrowing power from something else. It was flying all by itself. I've never experienced this strange feeling of gliding before. The sound of the wind was awfully loud.
Alcon, please check the towing rope.
Oh, that's cool. It has a little parachute. Sitting in the back seat, I turned around and saw that the towing rope had been safely released. With a small parachute attached, it was slowly falling to the ground. Release confirmed.
Alright, launch successful.
The glider managed to take off into the sky without any problems.
Aha! It's flying! It's really flying! Hey! Kotori! Ageha, look! It's flying! I can see! It's amazing! It's flying with the wings that we've made! So that's how it's flying. Foo. As expected, this is a deeply moving moment. Oh, the rope's coming down. We'd better go and retrieve it. I envy you, Alcon.
We're really flying! Awesome!
I'd rather not look down. It's scary.
You don't need to look down, Senpai. Please keep looking straight ahead.
Roger.
I checked the ground in place of Senpai. We were about 300 meters above the ground. Oh, Geha recovered the towing rope. The towing rope, aka the one coming out from the winch, was attached to the bottom of the aircraft by the hook. The hook can be detached from the cockpit at any time. This is usually done just before the glider reaches the point above the winch. Even if the controls malfunction, the hook is designed to automatically detach when the glider passes the point directly above the winch and gets pulled back. Once the towing rope is released, a small parachute opens and it slowly falls to the ground. If it's not detached, it can cause a serious accident, so we must always confirm that it's been released. At that point, my question would be, what would happen if it didn't detach? Like, what's your procedure then? Just brace for impact or what? Because I mean, like, well, I guess if you see that it doesn't detach when you've tried to initiate it already, maybe you try and land as fast as possible? I don't know. From the back seat, I enjoyed the view from 300 meters above the ground. I can see the whole city. I could see the roof of Flying Fish Manor, which was quite close to the runway. I could also see a Geha's house, which looked tiny. Ah, there's a school! Amazing! We're really flying. Could you stop repeating the word flying, we're flying? It makes me painfully aware of it. Oops, sorry. I shut my mouth and enjoyed my first flight in silence. When I saw the flying glider from below, it seemed really relaxing, but when you actually try getting into it, it really is relaxing. However, hearing the roar of the wind and feeling the air resistance with my whole body was something you couldn't experience in the simulator. Those were the forces that kept the glider, which had no thrust in the air. Even though the aircraft moved down slowly, it didn't fall. It flew leisurely through the winds. These wings are great. Are they? This ability's outstanding. They're really completely different than the ones I made. It's all thanks to those guys. Yeah, when we get back, I'll hug them a lot. I'm turning, she said and tilted the control stick to the right. The aircraft rapidly leaned to the right. Whoa! Oops! Senpai returned the control stick to its original position to correct the aircraft, which had banked too far, but whoa! She moved it too far and the glider banked to the left. Senpai, what are you doing? That's because this... Uh-oh.
What are they doing? Over there? Dunno. Testing the main wings? Even so, it looks pretty bad. Hello, Amani-chan? Hello, Amani-chan?
We received a transmission from Kosari.
It looks unsteady. Is everything alright? Oh, it might be not.
Senpai, please calm down. For a few moments, Senpai had been trying to level the aircraft, but she kept leaning it far too much to both sides over and over again.
The ailerons are too sensitive. Oh. Aikun, your turn.
Okay, Senpai, I'm taking over.
Go ahead.
Senpai let go of the control stick. In her place, I took over the controls from the back seat. Two-seat gliders have exactly the same controls in both the front and back seats, just like I did in the simulator. I tried turning it using the control stick to control the ailerons and the elevator, as well as the pedals to control the rudder. I tilted the control stick to the right and the aircraft banked. After banking, you only need to return the control stick back to the middle, but then it's necessary to move it in the opposite direction just a little. This was called counter steering, but I see.
What's the matter, Aikun?
The response to the ailerons is too sensitive, but it's okay, this shouldn't be too much of a problem. By too sensitive, I meant that when I moved the control stick just a little, the ailerons responded more than normally, which was causing the aircraft to lean too far. They weren't properly adjusted. If clumsy Amane-senpai were to use controls like this, it could have been a bit dangerous. Yeah, no kidding.
Will they be fine? It's alright. If worst comes to worst, they can always crash land on the lake. Hey, that's not going to happen, is it? It's better than falling onto the ground. Oh, they straightened out!
Phew, it seems like we're level again.
Will it be alright, Aikun?
Yeah, something like that won't be a problem. It was a little hard to maneuver, but I'll probably get used to it. Okay, I'll be piloting it for a while.
Yes, please.
For now, I'll try flying once around the runway. I slowly turned the aircraft and made it circle around above Kotori and Ageha. From above, I could see them both waving. I wonder if Anshan's watching us too. I could just about make out the roof of Anshan's workshop from here. I turned a little more, and now we're above the lake. Shall we go to the other side of the lake?
The airflow is stable today, so it may be hard to find any updrafts.
We couldn't increase our altitude without getting on the ascending air currents. Even though we call it flying, in actuality the glider continued descending slowly. If there are no updrafts, we'll have to land sooner or later.
But with these wings, we might be able to go there.
Roger that. If it looks bad, I'll turn back midway. Look at that. Flying through the sky like a bird.
Huh? Where are they going? Toward the Windmill Hill, it seems. Will they reach it? I wonder.
The glider proceeded to fly across the lake. The altitude was gradually decreasing, but there was still some safe margin.
I'll be watching the altimeter.
Yes, please. I learned how to read the instruments on the simulator, but wasn't quite used to it. We just flew straight forward, and after a short time, the other side of the lake came into view. There, on the gentle slopes of the hill, the windmills were lined up. Today, the wind was quite weak, so they weren't turning that much. Oh hey, these little girls again.
What's that, I wonder? Where? Look over there! It's coming this way! Could it be a plane? Ah, you're right. You've always had good eyesight. But it's flying awfully low. It doesn't seem too fast either.
I do know that those girls are on the front page of the Flight Diary game, so maybe they don't play too much of a role in this one. We saw you flying for the first time over there, Amane-senpai.
Ah, back then, huh?
The day I came back to this town, the day when everything began. Kotori was waving her hand at the glider that time. Did you see her?
No, I wouldn't have seen something like that. On that day, the air currents were really strong and rough. It was barely alive at that point.
Ah. While we were speaking, we crossed the lake and were now above the windmills. Just like Senpai did on that day, I slowly turned above the hill. It felt really strange to look down on the giant windmills from above.
It's turning slowly. What a strange aircraft. It's a glider, isn't it? A glider?
Yes, probably.
A glider? It's flying so slowly, it looks like it would feel nice. If it had an engine, it could fly faster. I wonder why it doesn't have one.
Aoi-kun, our altitude has decreased a lot. Roger, heading back. We couldn't stay here for too long. We had to return while we still had enough altitude to cross the lake. The moment we were turning back towards the runway on the other side of the lake, I saw people on top of the hill. There were two of them. Girls, I think. It seemed like they were looking up at us. They probably like gliders just like Kotori. As I arbitrarily imagined that, I left the windmill hill behind me.
It's gone. It seemed unsteady and rather unreliable. Yes, but it gave off the impression of soaring gracefully. Ah! They're back! They're very low, though. Looks like they're gonna land. Come in, Aoi! Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. We'll be preparing to land.
Roger. Landing, huh?
Well then, I'll return the controls to you.
Roger.
Senpai nodded nervously and grabbed the control stick. It's said that most glider accidents happen during the landing. When descending from flight and coming into contact with the ground, even one mistake can cause some physical damage. The tricky thing about landing is that when you push the control stick forward to lower the altitude, the speed will increase. When the speed is too high, the impact from the landing will be significant. Also, there's a risk that you won't be able to stop in time, pass the end of the runway and crash into something. That's why you need to lower the altitude while keeping the speed as low as possible. Hence, the main wings of the gliders are equipped with several different types of lift decreasing devices. In short, by reducing lift, the altitude can be decreased without gaining speed. The little flaps, right? Gliders tend to have a rather simple structure, but this type is equipped with several different landing devices used during takeoff and landing. Oh, just devices.
They're descending. Good, good. Just like that.
Coming in for landing. Thump. Ugh. Amane-senpai managed not to scratch the underside of the glider, even though at the moment of touchdown she pretty much dropped it to the ground. After landing, the glider covered several meters before the wheel brake stopped it.
Welcome back!
When we opened the canopy, a Geha peeked inside. We made it. I unfastened the seatbelt and crawled out of the narrow cockpit. Senpai, are you alright?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Senpai slowly unfastened her seatbelt as well. I got out first and gave Senpai a hand. Although a mere 10 minutes had passed, I strangely missed the feeling of solid ground beneath my feet.
How was it?
Kotsuri, who arrived a little faster than Ageha, rushed ahead and started firing questions at us. Well, how should I put it? It was awesome! It was absolutely the best. No other impressions came to my mind.
Thought so.
How long were we flying for?
About 15 minutes. Hey, did you reach Windmill Hill?
Yeah, just for a little while. I got a pretty good look at it.
Sounds great. Good work, Amane-senpai.
Ageha passed Senpai a bottle of mineral water. The cockpit that was exposed to direct sunlight all the time was unbearably hot inside.
Thanks. How are the main wings?
They glided through the air much more smoothly than before. It felt really good.
Oh, right. But at one point it was a bit unstable, wasn't it?
Yeah, the ailerons are too sensitive. They need some adjustments.
Were there any other problems?
Let me see. While Kotori and I were overwhelmed with excitement, Ageha and Amane-senpai were continuing their practical conversation besides us. I won't know for sure until I fly a bit more, but for now that's about it.
Got it. Well then, let's adjust the ailerons right away.
Ageha enthusiastically went to get the tools.
What are you doing? Come and help you guys. Let's fly as much as possible today.
The testing had only just begun. We did a few more tests afterwards. The main objective for today was to test the freshly made main wings and check the repaired meter. That and my flight practice. Thanks to the work I'd put into the simulator, I was able to control it from the very beginning. I only realized this after flying the real thing, but Amane-senpai's simulator gave a pretty realistic sense of flying. I have to say that's what I'd expect of her. After we finished adjusting the ailerons, I practiced takeoff and landing and was able to use the basic maneuvers. As we returned from the 5th flight, Ageha and Kotori came over to us.
Good work!
I opened the canopy and groaned. It's so hot!
Here, some water.
It appears that when you're flying in this season, water's indispensable.
You've gotten really used to it, haven't you?
Yeah, my body got used to the cockpit.
That turn just now was really neat, and that landing, it was smoother than Amane-chan's.
How come it's improving quickly? Amane-senpai said it in such a way that it was hard to tell whether she was glad or sulking. It appears she still had a complex about her clumsiness. I'm pretty tired. I'll take a little break. When I got back onto the ground, my legs were a little unsteady. Rather than from fatigue itself, it was more because being in the air for so long had messed up my sense of balance. You've done enough testing. How about having lunch before we continue?
Shall we?
As we proceeded with this conversation, Kotori...
Hey... I want to ride it too!
Amane-senpai looked at me. Wait a minute, I can't give her a ride. You're the one who has the license.
But you're already better than me.
That might be true when it comes to normal flying, but not all flights are trouble-free. If something happens, I might not be able to deal with it.
Amane-chan, you fly it. Are you insane?
Ageha responded reflexively, and Amane-senpai made a slightly hurt expression. Well, when I was in the backseat, seeing Amane-senpai's pilot from up close, my heart was certainly beating dangerously fast.
It's fine. I think it's worth risking my life for. We made those wings ourselves after all.
Kotori nodded deeply.
Okay, I understand.
Well then, let's fly one more time before lunch.
Yay!
Atop her wheelchair, Kotori threw her arms into the air.
Okay, I'll operate the winch. Help me put Kotori in the back seat.
Sure. Ageha and I picked up Kotori and put her in the back seat.
How's your seat? Not too loose? No, it feels just right.
What's wrong, senpai? When I thought that I wouldn't have Aokun to help me, I felt a bit uneasy.
I know how you feel, but the person in the back seat should be even more worried. I'm fine.
While we continued the preparations, Ageha was waiting by the winch. When takeoff preparations were complete, I gave Ageha the signal to commence the launch.
Excited. Excited. Huh?
The winch wasn't working. Hey, what's going on? Ageha was waving in our direction with both hands. The next moment... Puff! Black smoke rose up from the winch.
Smoke's coming out?
Ah, it really is. I'll be back in a minute. Just in case, please release the towing rope for now. Roger. I confirmed that Senpai had released the towing from the rope, then ran over to the winch. What's wrong?
Looks like it's broken.
Said Ageha, completely at a loss while looking at the black smoke rising up like a signal fire. It's no good. It broke. After examining the insides of the winch, Amane-senpai, covered in oil, uttered that hopeless conclusion.
It can't be.
Kotori, who really wanted to fly, was downhearted. It appeared that one worn-out part broke and the winch didn't work anymore.
Good that this happened before the launch. If it broke down during the takeoff, it could have caused a serious accident.
Amane-senpai nodded in agreement. Can we fix it?
This might be hard to do ourselves. We need to ask a professional mechanic. This is gonna take a long time though, isn't it?
It can be done in just a day or two. In the first place, even getting somebody to collect such a bulky machine would take quite a bit of effort. To tell you the truth, I was more worried about the cost and the time it'll take.
That means...
And that's it for today's testing. Gah! Kotori slumped down in her wheelchair, completely deflated. Such is the way of life, unfortunately. So, I guess there is going to be a little... I was kind of thinking that, okay, once we got this thing in the air, it'd be a whole thing, and we'd end it. But clearly there's going to be a lot more to this. Alright, we're going to go ahead and stop and save right there. I have no idea if this game has a lot more to it, a little bit more to it, nothing left to it. But I think it's going to have a lot more left to it, just kind of knowing what I know about these games. But yeah, well, so questions have been answered. It seems like the way that they, obviously it's a winch, but it seems like once they get up to speed and they like lift up on the stick, at that point it's almost as if they're being catapulted into the air. So pretty interesting like mechanism that they have going on there. Again, I feel like for one, I feel like taking off using wheels on either side of the plane on the end of the wings would be a better choice than running along with it. But I mean, it's probably not a very big aircraft, so that's not exactly necessary. And then I guess just first off, I want to know if those two little literally twin tailed girls are going to come into play in the story in this game at all, more than they have. I mean, because the only thing we've really got from them is this scene right here, and then also when we ran into one of them at the mall. But yeah, other than that, there's those 2 points. Well, okay, let me get my thoughts organized here. One thing is going to be the girls. Are they going to come into play later? Another thing is obviously is Kotori going to be able to fly in the glider. A third thing is our relationship. Is this gonna? We've had a couple of moments with Kotori, and there's been they had their little girls talk in the bath about, oh, who do you like, and yada yada yada. So is there gonna be like an official conclusion on that as well? So a couple of plot points here that I would like to see wrapped up. But that's going to be it for this time. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like on the video and tell me in the comment section below what you'd like to see me play next. If you enjoyed this video or any of the videos or series on my channel, then I highly recommend that you hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you'll be notified when those videos comes out. Anyways, that's it from me, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!